Hello and happy Thursday, RP fam. I cannot thank you guys enough for joining me. We know what Thursday means. It's buy sell. I'm sorry that I missed you guys last week, but I am coming back with 6 players I believe that we can buy low or sell high to get the best value possible. A lot of value adjustments over the last couple of weeks. I'm going to do my best to help you navigate them and improve our rosters as we head into the meat of the season. Make sure you like the video if you enjoy the content today. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so yet. We are oh so close to 750 subscribers, on our way to 1,000. If you haven't hit the button yet, and you do it now, you can join us on our journey. With that done and out of the way, I am going to begin this week with my buys. The first one is Travis Etienne for Jacksonville, currently the RB18. I know he has not put up the numbers that we have expected, but that's been the story of the Jags offense so far this year. They have been basically underwhelming across the board. So really the question becomes, do you believe that they have what it takes to get it right? And I, for one, do. Etienne, as the current RB18, sits between Josh Jacobs and Joe Mixon, but he is going to finish this season as an RB1. He was a top 10 scorer in the second half of 2022. Etienne's volume is what makes me believe in him. He has 18 plus carries in 3 of 4 games, 3 targets or more in every game this season. He is averaging 21 touches per game, 85% snap share, bell cow usage here. The Jags are also getting starting tackle Cam Robinson back from suspension soon. That is going to improve this offensive line. And on deck, we know the Buffalo Bills are next in a big game in London. And while that looks like a negative matchup and one we want to avoid, the Bills have actually been fairly susceptible against the run. They've surrendered the second highest explosive run rate and the highest yards after contact per attempt. Now, coming up in the next 4 weeks, Indianapolis and Pittsburgh are on deck. Both of those defenses give up over 20 points per game to running backs, and Etienne has not scored in 3 weeks as well. He is due. All of this together means that Jacksonville's back is going to continue to see not only massive usage, but have opportunities for big-time production, and his value will increase. He probably is not going to get any cheaper than he currently sits, so sell high in a running back like Jerome Ford, the current RB15, David Montgomery, who is currently the running back 9, or Raheem Mostert, who is way up and out of his league at running back number 2. All of these guys should be able to be moved for Etienne, and he is the back that you want most of all. Michael Pittman is the next player I am looking at and want to try to acquire. He's been a top 25 wideout in back-to-back years coming into this season, and last year he was 3rd in the NFL in route win rate. He's been a buy for me basically since the Colts drafted Anthony Richardson, who I loved. He's 11th this year in the NFL in target share at 27%. He has 3 games already where he has 10 or more targets, and he's only scored 1 touchdown with all of that volume. Those touchdowns are going to come for this team. Pittman has a 33.3% first read share. He's got the most red zone targets on the team, which basically comes out to when Richardson goes back to pass, he is looking for Pittman. Richie Rich has shown so far this year that he can ball out, and Pittman is his alpha. As Richardson and Pittman play together more, and this offense continues to evolve, Richardson gets better as a passer, the production in this offense will only increase. We don't know what's happening with Jonathan Taylor, but if he happens to return, this offense just gets scarier, and if he doesn't return, all that is going to mean is more volume for Pittman. And this offense for Indianapolis has been better than expected. They are scoring more than 24 points per game right now. Pittman also is a great buy because his name value does not carry like some of the other number ones in the league do. It means we can get him cheaper. Pittman could threaten wide receiver 1 numbers by the end of the season. I had him as a top 15 upside type of player coming into the year, so nothing has changed except that he's doing better than most people expected. Pittman is also coming off of a game where he caught a single ball on 5 targets, and he only racked up 15 yards. He's been a sub 45 producer in 2 out of the last 3 games as well. And Tennessee is on deck. They've allowed the 8th most points per game to the position, over 35 per wide receivers. This means it is the perfect time to buy. Pittman's value is going to increase after this week. That connection with Richardson could flash, and once that is through, all of the opportunity to buy low is gone. If possible, someone I had as a sell a couple weeks ago in Garrett Wilson, I would still love to swap him for Pittman here. Jalen Waddle is the last player I am looking to acquire at a discount. Now, obviously, we are not going to get him anywhere close to where he currently sits as wide receiver 57 and half-point PPR, but that does not mean that we cannot get him cheaper than we should be able to. Waddle hasn't caught more than 4 balls or surpassed 100 yards in a game all season long, and he's also was injured for one of the games this year, and this is after many owners spent a top 25 pick on him, so the value has not gotten back to us yet, but it will. The Miami Dolphins offense is awesome, no spoiler alert for you there. But Waddle is really the only one at this point that we can acquire for anything more than a massive piece on our rosters. Tyreek Hill, Devon Achane, Tua, not really worth going after because we are going to have to pay a premium for him. The stock is not going to be lower than it ever is right now with Jalen Waddle. This offense in Miami is averaging 35 points a game, so I want pieces. Now, last year, Waddle led the NFL in yards per catch, nearly 18 per. He's basically doing that again this year. He's averaging 17.5 a catch. In 2022, Waddle was the wide receiver 7 overall. He was 10th in yards after the catch, 7th in receiving yards, 4th in yards per route run, and 3rd in fantasy points per target. So he has proven at an elite level over the course of a season that he can produce. There is no reason to think that his current numbers aren't going to skyrocket in the coming weeks. One boom game for Waddle is really all it's going to take for the current owner to remember why they drafted him in the first place and for our window to completely close on getting him. Now, there is a tough schedule for the Dolphins coming up. That is something that we can use as an advantage and leverage to get him on our squad. Waddle only has 16 targets in his last 3 games, but do not be worried, the opportunities will come. Waddle actually had a touchdown last week against the Bills. That was called back for an offensive penalty, and that was perfect for buyers because that's the only reason we have the opportunity to buy low. So we know that Waddle can produce at a high level, and he just hasn't gotten the looks and opportunities right now to do so. But I am so confident in Waddle breaking out in the second half of this season, I would move an overachiever, someone like Puka Nacua as a sell high, or even Nico Collins, who's wide receiver 7 right now, to go and get myself Jalen Waddle. Some players from previous episodes that I am still buying include Jahmyr Gibbs, Ramondre Stevenson, and Chris Godwin. Before we get into my sells, got 3 of them for you. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Very much appreciated. My first sell is Alvin Kamara. I know this guy just got back onto the field, and I am already ready to ship him off. He was the RB12 last week in his only game played, which means get out while the getting is good. Kamara saw insane usage last week, but it's just not sustainable moving forward. 14 targets, 13 receptions. You have to love those numbers. But then you look at what he did with them, 33 measly yards. That's not going to cut it. He did have 11 carries for 51 yards. That's fine, but nothing worked out offensively for the Saints, and I'm not sure that is going to change anytime soon. Kamara has not exactly been an elite person as far as efficiency metrics over the last couple seasons. That has remained true. We have Derek Carr, who is playing hurt for this team and just threw for 127 yards against the, let's not say great, Bucs defense. To make matters even worse, Kamara himself said, It has been 2 years since we have had this offense that was rolling. That is not a very good look as well, and just another reason to get out now. There are a lot of holes on this team, and if I can get out, especially at a good price for Kamara, I want to do that. The Saints go to Foxborough this week, always tough to play there, and this bad offense will not travel. We can sell Alvin Kamara on his name. He had a 70% route participation last week, a 74% snap share, and a whopping 37% target share. He handled 92% of the New Orleans touches in the backfield. Jamal Williams has also been out for the Saints, and eventually he is going to return, and he could steal goal line looks. So we have a bad offense. We have a running back who has not been efficient in a hot minute, who doesn't even believe in the offense he is playing. Sell, sell, sell. If there is an owner out there who still believes that Kamara is an RB1, I'd be going and looking at someone like Josh Jacobs or Joe Mixon, RB 17 and 19 right now, respectively, as a 1-for-1 swap. Now, if that is not possible, and it probably isn't, you can even look for someone in that running back 2 range to swap for him. Ramondre Stevenson is at number 23 right now. Jahmyr Gibbs, running back 28. Both of these guys are great options that I would swap for him as well. 2 wide receivers left to sell, and the first one I have on my list is Gabe Davis. He is a perfect sell high candidate and post-hype sleeper, just like I thought he would be. He did not cost you much in drafts. That's the first thing that we love. So now is the perfect time to sell him for an upgrade elsewhere. Davis has touchdowns in 3 of 4 games this year. He's currently the wide receiver 22.5 PPR. The problem is he offers no floor. He has 4 or fewer targets and 3 catches or less in 3 of 4 games this season. So if those big plays and touchdowns do not come, he is going to crush you that week. Now, this is not something that is new for us, but because of what he has done early on in the season, it opens up a path for us to get out now after we've already had some of the benefits. If you are an owner, you know that Davis is the type of player that you don't really keep in your lineups every week. You throw in when there is a good matchup, try to get those boom weeks and avoid the zeros. And the next great matchup here for Davis is maybe in week 6 against the Giants, but after that, you are not getting one you really feel comfortable playing him in until week 10 against the Broncos. So with that schedule tightening up, we've already seen him hit early. It is the perfect time to get out. Gabe Davis, I think, is an excellent piece in a 2-for-1 if you're trying to get the better player, or if you can swap him for someone that I just talked about like Michael Pittman Jr., that is a move to make. Amari Cooper at wide receiver 31, Christian Kirk at wide receiver 26 are both great options as well, and either of those guys are going to give you a better floor. Yes, even Amari Cooper. Courtland Sutton is the last wide receiver that I have, and my last sell in week number 5. This guy went from supremely overdrafted in 2022 to being taken for granted this year as a sub 40 option coming into drafts. He's also currently a wide receiver 2 who, just like Gabe Davis, has scored 3 touchdowns through first 4 weeks of the season. Now, when we consider the past for Sutton, he scored 4 touchdowns in his previous 2 years combined. It is time to get out and sell high while we can. Sutton's production thus far has come off of some of the worst pass defenses in the league. He's torched the Raiders, the Commanders, the Dolphins, and the Bears, and combined, those teams have allowed 22 touchdowns through 4 weeks. He's obviously not going to get those constant plus matchups moving forward. Denver gets the Jets this coming week before he gets the Packers and 2 matchups against the Chiefs prior to heading into that week 9 bye for Denver. All 3 of those teams are allowing bottom 10 numbers to pass catchers, and in case you need another reason outside of a horrible schedule and him overperforming early on, Jerry Jeudy is getting healthy, and Marvin Mims Jr., a second-round pick this year, continues to force his way onto the field with big play after big play. The wide receiver room is getting crowded. We are not sure if Russ is going to be able to sustain the production that we have seen so far. It seems that Sutton is destined to nosedive over the next month plus, so move him now. You could probably pull pretty similar value to Gabe Davis, but if you need other targets, especially ones that are lower down in the current rankings, Chris Godwin at wide receiver 49 and Zay Flowers at wide receiver 41 are both better long-term options than Sutton. Players from other buy-sell videos that you still need to check out include Garrett Wilson, Raheem Mostert, and Derrick Henry. All of these players I still think you can sell at their current spot and get value elsewhere. There is just too much risk for me to want to hold them. And that is it. Everything I got for you guys for week 5's buy sell. I hope I helped you out, gave you some ideas, and helped you learn something. Let me know about any trade opportunities you may have. I love the engagement. It is one of the main reasons I create this content for you guys. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel. We are getting there to our first 1,000 subscribers. I have start sits coming out on Saturday. It is going to cover every single position with tiers, so make sure you hit your notifications so you do not miss that. This is Relentless Press. I am your host, Abraham Opatz, and I will see you next time.